How's it going, YouTube? Coming today with another video, and today, guys, what the bring to you is going to be technical play via Fishbowl. Now, Fishbowl is really interesting as a concept because back when we had Dragon Link with Chaotic Ruler, or most tournament builds, and there's a couple other decks out there right now that are really what we do call a Fishbowl. And that's because you don't necessarily know where your endboard's going to lie. You have endboard pieces in your extra deck. You have endboard pieces potentially in your main deck. But it's the matter of how you're going to get to them and what kind of routes are you going to take to get there. And this will change if it's game 1, 2, or 3. You know what you're playing against. You don't know what you're playing against. You like zombie vamp mill their deck and see what they're using. Because at that point, I've sacked my own endboard pieces because it's like, wow, those actually just won't work into this deck, right? So you have to kind of adjust on the fly. And this is just a generic hand here that I was able to open. And there's a lot of ways that you can handle hands like this too. So like, the first way that I would probably go about this is just getting this trivia out of my hand, just in case, you know, if there's like a droll somewhere, right? We're going to be able to chain the trivia at any point. The other thing here is I usually will go ahead and send the happy first, because if I'm going to be milling without just like sending another one down right away, I have a higher chance to hit an Mseti than you would the one of happy, right? So I always send that one down first. Here, I'm probably going to go ahead and rip the Pearl of Rhino and then search me a Rhino Heart, and you'll see why here in a moment. So we'll get the Rhino Heart. No droll, hypothetically, right? Even if there is, we'll go ahead and chain this here. And we'll get to our screen. Now, if you had like a Soul Engrave, you could always do the cool play where you can go like Shower and send the Rhino, and then Reborn the Rhino and chain the Tier Cash out of your hand and banish the other card, just so you can not have to pitch out of your hand and get full value. But in this scenario, we're actually going to mill a lot of cards. So we'll go Chainlink 1, Scream, Chainlink 2, Rhino. We'll guarantee send down a Tier Cash here, and then we'll get our other mill 3 out, which is cool. So we did end up hitting a Rhino Heart here. So we'll go Chainlink 1, our Tier Cash that we sent down, so we'll mill another 2 here. And then we can determine if we want to use the Rhino Heart here, which we definitely do. And then we will go ahead here and, you know, in this scenario, I think it's perfectly fine to just go ahead and send the Shiren, and you'll see why. So we'll go ahead and reborn this. We'll mill 2 more. That's pretty crazy. So now where we're at, we can go ahead and go Chainlink 1 the Shiren, and then we'll go Chainlink 2 the Beast, and then Chainlink 3 the Solic. The Solic can go ahead and guarantee get anything here. You could also go Solic Chainlink 1 if you wanted to, so that you can add the Shiren right after, which is pretty good as well. For now, I'm honestly just going to add another Tier Cash. I think it's fine for right now. We'll get our draw in, and then we'll get this summon here of our Ruklos. You also could have used the Rhino that we haven't reborned off its own effect, and then made Kaleido, and then popped the Kaleido with the Pearl Rhino, and then been able to send another thing, which is kind of cool. But I definitely want the other 4 here on the board at the moment, just so we're able to make like a Dugaris here, which you'll see us go into shortly here. We do have the Foolish Burial Goods here, which I will just go ahead and drop. I want this for later. This will come in handy. So we can go ahead and just send the Scream here, and then this will get us into our Solic, which is really nice. So now we have a very interesting scenario to get into here. I'm just going to go ahead and overlay these into a Dugaris. So we'll go ahead here and draw 2, and then we're going to pitch 1, which is definitely interesting now that we have the Mseti. We can get another draw off that now, which is cool, because at this point, we're just assuming there's no hand traps that we got to worry about, right? So there's no point in not just going ahead and getting rid of this Mseti here just for another King's Arc and a draw. So here we'll see what we get. We got an Impulse, which is very good. Then go into the Vamp here. This also could have reborn like a Swat Frog too, if you want to go for like the Toad line, which is really cool. There's a lot of different ways you can go about these combos. That's why they're like so complex, right? Because there's so many different ways to go about it. This is very interesting too, because we already used the Shiren, so don't necessarily need it in Grave anyway, but it's probably going to be there regardless. So what I'm going to do here is actually bring back this Mirror Mage, And then I can link off both of these and go directly to Sprint. Make sure there's this arrows here, right? So we don't block our link zone. And then we can actually chain block this too. Which again, this would have already been like something where we're pretty protected from hand traps already, right? Like we haven't seen anything. So chain link 1, chain link 2, we can add this and then dump our Merly. And then now we can go Merly, Shiren, and our Rhino. And we can summon out our Kaleido, Planet Pop Kaleido. And then we can go Kaleido Effect Engrave. Then dump the other name we haven't used yet. And put this back and the Beast back. And then summon Winda. So now into our opponent's turn, we have a Future Extender in the Freezing Chains. We have a backup King Sark. We have a Mill 6 on our opponent's turn. We have Solic, which can then send the Kaleido, which can then dump another name on a deck and get a fusion whenever we need it. We have an Impulse that you don't have to set here, of course. You can just like keep this card in hand. There's no reason to even set it, really. We have a Mudora Engrave. We have the Bounce off the Sprint, and we have Winda. So this is a really hard board to crack, and it's also a lot of interrupts to play through. And again, you don't always know where your board is going to end up, but you kind of have to cook as you go, right? I've had really interesting scenarios where I've had to like overlay a Rukalos just because it's an 8, right? I just go into something like Vamp because I needed something different that wasn't Rukalos. It happens, right? Especially if they like try to interrupt you with like a Femina or something, right? And then you have to use this early, and now you're like, well, it doesn't really do me any good right now, right? So get rid of it and try to turn it into something else. But this is why the deck can be so much fun, though, because you can just like make such a crazy board out of such a random hand, right? Because you don't exactly know what you're gonna get. You just kind of get what you get. And you'll see here in the next starting 5 as well, it kind of just happens every single time, right? So this is a pretty crazy hand off rip here too. And we can kind of play around with like what kind of interruption we're gonna see here. Whatever I start with here is going to catch the interruption, whether it be the Imseti or the Swat Frog. And you can always go Imseti and pitch something else here, and then get another King Sark and a draw, but you play heavy into quite a lot. I've seen it be an option, though, just in case you want like the additional draw that bad. One of the things that I definitely would consider here, though, is going like King Sark pitch, and then go ahead and get rid of the Happy, and just first thing, just try to go right into a Vamp, right? Just see what we're working with here, see what the issue is, and hopefully we don't get stopped, right? If we do, then we have like Swat Frog plays, we can go into like Toad, right? So we have some really cool options here. So let's say in a perfect world, right, like we don't get stopped here. So whenever I start seeing things like this, which is a really crazy scenario to be in, by the way, we have a couple options, right? So we get a free summon here. But the other thing is that we don't necessarily need to summon anything either. We get to add here, which is really nice. You can also just like leave the Shiren Engrave if you really wanted to, and you don't have to fuse, but you're still in a pretty opportune moment to want to. So even here, it doesn't really matter if you like want to or not, because right here it says, then if any were sent, you can special, you don't need to. So I'd probably leave them here and just go Chainlink 1 Shiren, Chainlink 2 the Solic. And again, I always am a big fan of having something like Tier Cash just chilling in my hand. So I'm going to add an additional one since Swap's going to end up being my normal summon here. And then just go right into Rukalos. Just so I don't really have to worry about a whole lot. We do have the Trivia Engrave. We don't necessarily need anything at the moment. So I'm just going to go ahead here and go into our Swap Frog. Dump the Mirror Mage, get the chains here, and then bring back the Mirror Mage, overlay into a Toad. And now we're in a really, really good position, right? Like, there's not a whole lot that we're necessarily worried about. So here's the cool thing that we can do next, though, is we can stick the Field Spell, and then we can get Shiren here, activate Scream. Now, this is a very interesting spot because you don't need to extend here. You really don't. But if you want to start seeing more cards like Mudora, right, which is always going to be a really good opportunity, we're going to mill 3 here for our Shiren. There's our Beast, which is awesome. So it's going to be Chainlink 1, Tier Cash, Chainlink 2, Scream, Chainlink 3, Beast, right? So we're going to draw 1 and mill 5. And so now we have the Rhino Heart Engrave, and we have a Swap Frog. Very interesting that we get the Rhino Heart here, just because we're going to have to get rid of the tier cache in hand, which isn't necessarily a problem, because we'll get to add it back off the Toad anyways. But we do clog if we want to go for the line that we like chain tier cache, right? So like that kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, we're going to be able to build a bigger board if we do it this way regardless. So we'll go ahead here and we will use the Rhino Heart to go ahead and ditch from deck. We don't want to send them early because that's always a combo piece for later, right? So we can actually go ahead here and use the Hobness Engrave. We will get rid of the Rhino Heart, and then the Shiren will go back to the bottom of the deck. And we'll do what we did last time. We'll go pop, and then target this, and then trigger that to send another one here, right? Which now will send the Merly down, and then we'll use the Merly here to go into our window. And now we're in a really, really good spot, right? If you really want to make like an IP here, you can, but I mean, what are you going to get rid of, right? It's not really going to be that good to do. We have double King Engrave, which is really cool because like now we have the opportunity if we want to go for a Grapha, especially during our opponent's turn, we can. You have Shyama, so like let's say that you didn't use Pearl Rhino to pop the Kaleido, you can actually just use Shyama to pop the Kaleido, which is pretty cool. And you just have so many opportunities to be able to play the game and have follow-up, right? So a deck like this, you get a lot of knowledge when it comes to just like dealing with boards and situations and awkward hands. If you just spend some time playing decks like Tier, even like Lightsworn, right? If you just give these a try to just like make an end board, you get a lot out of it because those hands that you look at and you go, this doesn't really do anything, right? It does a lot sometimes, right? Like you can really put in the effort to make some pretty crazy end boards. And yeah, decks like this, it has a bit of nuance to it because you don't necessarily know what you're going to mill, but you can maximize your opportunities to mill, which is really fun. And that's how I continue to do well with this deck. There are new ways to make the deck work, right? There's new ways to find out how you're going to be able to mill and get to your crazy end board pieces. So if you have any other questions about Tier, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. I love doing videos like this to kind of show you my open ideas and thoughts whenever I'm just kind of comboing through different hands, just so you get an idea of the different lines that are available to you. So definitely let me know if you like this style of video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.